Hey guys, so welcome to another video. It is Kalila, and today we are doing a sit-down Q&A chatty video. I haven't done one of these in a while. The last time I had planned to do a Chatty Knit With Me type of video was last year, July. I asked questions on Instagram, and it was like a this or that kind of video, and I never filmed it. If you hear laughing, it's probably like outside because my window's open. Anyway, yeah, I never did it. And I still have those this or that questions or whatever in my email because I emailed it to myself. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, I'm doing this right now. I can add it to this. And I thought it was just questions. So when I went to look at those questions I thought were questions, I saw it was a this or that, and I was just like, maybe that'll just be its own video because this is strictly just a Q&A. So anyway, I asked people to ask me questions on Instagram. I got many questions, so I will try to answer most, if not all of them, and I will pop up the questions on the screen, but I'll like white out the name or like crop out the name so that people don't want others to know they're the ones who asked the question. It's fine. Some questions, a couple questions I saw, it would be obvious who the person is, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's get on. Oh wait, not yet. I'm going to be knitting during this. I am currently knitting on my birch sweater, which is a test knit for Ulen Knitwear Maria, and I am almost done. I have all of the body, whole sleeve, so I'm just working on the ribbing of the sleeve. I just started it today, literally like 2 minutes ago. So I will be knitting on this while I'm answering questions. So that means I'll be looking down a lot of the time, if not most of the time. So yeah, I don't know what else to say after that. Enjoy, I guess. Let me pull up the questions. Okay, so the first question is, what's your favorite yarn you've ever knit with? My favorite yarn I've ever knit with? That's a good question because there are many yarns that I've knit with that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. And I'm thinking, I knit with a lot of hand-dyed yarns, but I typically knit with them with mohair, which makes it even better than it by itself to me because I love mohair. My favorite yarn? I'd say before it was knitting for Olive, their mohair and merino together. I love that blend. But now that I am knitting with this British wool at the moment, because I'm using Woolly Knits Cone in 100% British wool, and though it makes my hands very dry, I have been loving it so much. So I think right now, Woolly Knit British wool will be my favorite for now until I use up some more yarn. Because since most of the yarns I've used have been hand-dyed, I feel like I don't really have a comparison because using hand-dyed yarn is actually not it's not my favorite kind of yarn to use. I just like it because of the colors mainly. But when it comes to like feel and stuff, I feel like I prefer more non-superwash yarns because I just love how rustic they feel, especially when I wear them and stuff. I'd like to feel fibers. I like to feel fibers on my skin, which is funny because most people don't. Some people prefer not to feel the fibers of their knits, like they like the superwash, not the superwash feel as in like, oh, it feels like plastic, but like the softness, because most superwash yarns are very, very soft. So I actually prefer to feel my fibers, which is why I pair them with mohair all the time. That was a long-winded answer for a short question. Yes, this current British wool is my favorite at the moment. My favorites change, so next time I have a Q&A, maybe later in a year or next year, it will probably be whatever yarn that I recently used, to be honest. All right, okay, so this question is from Marlene Knits. It's like a two-part question. If you guys know Marlene Knits, then woo, you're awesome. If you don't know, it's my brother. He's like, oh. If you don't know, then I'll put her name right here, and you should check out her podcast, because I went on a binge for like a week, and I just binged all of her videos straight, and I was just like, when I got to the current one, I was so sad because I felt like I'd gotten to know a new friend. I was just like, I want more. And then the next day she posted a video, and I was just like, yes. Catching up on videos is a sad thing, especially when it ends. Anyway, here's a question. Have you and your sisters contemplated coming up to Flock Fiber Festival and meet up with Chelsea of True Lane? If you don't know True Lane, what are you doing? Come on, another podcaster. And me, to meet up with Chelsea, True Lane, and me, maybe that would be so cool. Oh my gosh. When I saw that question, I was like, I went to Kahila immediately. And I was just like, Kahila, August, Washington, $100 flight to go up there and meet them. She was like, and go to a festival, hello, with the yarn? So that is a most likely potentially yes, because I live in California. That Fiber Flock Festival is in Washington, and that's literally just like $100, $200 flight just to fly up there for a few days. That will be fun. So I think we can probably make plans as things get closer. Oh, so many great things happening this year, and that was like an unexpected thing, because of course I watched her videos, and when she was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, they're meeting up, and it didn't click that Washington is literally right above where I live, and I could easily go to that festival as well. I'm just so used to just being a homebody and not going anywhere, and I'm just like, oh, look at everyone going out and meeting each other. It's so cute. It's like, girl, you can do that too. So I think we'll do it, and that'll be so fun. So yes. Next question. Now that you do test knits, do you also do gauge swatches? Now that I've done test knits and currently doing test knits, no. I do not do gauge swatches still, because I feel like it's a waste of yarn. I know. Put your guns down, alright? I'm sorry. But I love yarn so much that I refuse to use yarn to just make a swatch that will not be used in the project. That sounds so weird. Hold on. I did a yarn over to add an extra stitch, so I have to like go through. Okay. There we go. All right. No, I don't do gauge swatches, but I do check my gauge when I have a bit of fabric to make sure that I am on gauge, because of course, since it's a test knit, you want to make sure you're getting it as accurate as possible no, not as accurate as possible, accurate gauge-wise, so that the garment can come out the way it is intended to come out. But do I do a swatch for it? No. Doing a gauge swatch does not seem enjoyable to me. I have done a swatch before, not to check gauge, but to see how a fabric would turn out. And it was the worst experience of my life. Okay, that's exaggerating. But it was very, very annoying to do, because I got no satisfaction or enjoyment out of it. And that is the reason why I knit. To get enjoyment and satisfaction out of what I knit, regardless of what I am knitting. And knitting a swatch is the process of knitting. And if I'm not enjoying it while I'm knitting, I don't want to do it. All of that just to say, no, I don't do gauge swatches. That's the pattern you'll see. I will go on little tangents just for a question, because I feel like I have to explain my answer. I can't just like give an answer. It's like, do you do gauge swatch? No. Because people are going to want to know, why not? Or why do you now? If I said yes, and it's like, oh, why do you now? Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense to me. All right, super beginner knitter here. Best first project recommendation. Beginner knitter, welcome to the world of knitting. You will go down a rabbit hole and enjoy it. Just so you know. Just so you know. But beginner projects that I recommend any kind of beanie. My first project was a beanie. My second project was a sweater vest or slipover. I feel like it's more of a sweater vest. It was a sweater vest / slipover, but I recommend a beanie, specifically a beanie that's like in the round, because I think you can get a lot of techniques out of the way when doing a beanie, and it's also a smaller project, and you probably won't have as many frustrations as you would if you did like a sweater. But if you are looking for beginner sweater patterns, then listen. Who do I always recommend? Petite Knit, of course. She has a whole beginner section on her website, so you should go check out her website, check the beginner section, and I would recommend doing like the Anchors tee sweater, an Anchor sweater, or the novice sweaters, because those are all beginner projects. The novice sweater chunky edition is the first sweater I did. I lied. That was the second sweater. The first sweater I did was the Louisiana sweater, but beginner raglan project, I'll say the Louisiana sweater by Petite Knit. Beginner like circular yoke project, I'd say the novice sweater chunky edition. The Louisiana sweater is also a chunkier project, so that should be more enjoyable as you learn, since it's not on smaller needles like a project like this is, which is 4mm needles, which to me is just pretty average because I always use them. But to a beginner, it may be very small. So those two sweaters, but definitely check out her beginner section. And I always recommend her because she's the only one who I've seen who actually sections out things where it's like, hey, beginners can do this. Beginners can do anything, okay? Marlene literally did a sweater and I was like, textured and stuff. I've never done it. I haven't even done texture besides the Cargill sweater, okay? And I'm like, whoa, I would not have done it as a beginner. I haven't even done it yet. I'm not even doing it now. But it's all in what you think you want to make. But since you asked for beginner projects, I feel like you're probably on the normal wave of starting out with like this. And then, you know, a simple this, a simple that. So, yeah. Check her out. Is knitting and YouTube your full-time job? No. I just do it for fun. This is literally for fun. That's it. Next question. Now that you've test knit, any tips for beginner testers? I want to do one, but I'm a little nervous. I don't think there are any tips that you need to know, as in like, oh, should I do this way, do that way? All you have to do as a tester is knit the pattern and just make sure if you see any mistakes, let the designer know. If you see anything that you think could be a little clearer, just let the designer know, either in DMs or in the, usually we get a Google Doc, and so use the Google Doc and put the suggestion there. Other than that, hey.
What's happening here?
What's happening here? Answering some questions, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo. What's up, guys?
It's handmade with K, guys. Hey. Toodles. Yeah. But other than that, I would say you already have an Instagram, make sure it's public, make sure they can see that you post your projects, because I feel like if a designer doesn't know who you are already, then if you want to be able to be chosen for tests, make sure you have a public Instagram where they can see your past projects or any current projects you're working on. Make sure you have a Ravelry page, because a lot of testers would use like a tester code, and it's a way for people who aren't on Instagram to see projects that people have done and see it in different colors and different sizes and different yarn choices, etc., etc. And that's about it. Since for all of my test knit, all of the designers have known who I was, so I kind of just like slipped in there just because of that. So it's hard for me to actually give like, oh, how do I, actually get a test knit? But I think, if you do those things, you should be more attractive of a test knitter to designers who are looking for test knitters. Yeah. So it's not a big thing. If you have questions, usually you're in an Instagram group and other testers can help you out. You can ask literally anything and everything about the pattern, because you have gotten the pattern for free. You can ask whatever you want, and usually 99% of the time people will have an answer for you, and it's a good time. I think that's about it for that. I'm laughing at this next question because it's from a friend. Have you considered knitting something out of your own hair? No! No, I haven't. Imagine knitting something. I would say if someone were to knit something, if someone were to knit something out of their own hair, it would be a process out of this world, because I feel like you would have to spin your hair. You'd have to like have your hair, right, comb it out, spin it, hank it up. First of all, you have to get enough hair to be able to spin, get enough hair to... That sounds crazy, but it's probably not impossible. I'm sure someone has done it before. At least one person in this world has done it before. But no, I have never even considered doing that. Ever. And I cut my hair so much, I wouldn't even have long enough strands to actually turn my hair into yarn and knit with it. Have I ever knitted my hair into my projects on accident? Yes. I have found many strands that I had to pull out of my projects because I've accidentally knitted it into my project. I'm sure all knitters can relate to that if you have long hair. What is your favorite needle size / material? I'm gonna just start reading the questions from here because I'm tired of picking up my phone. What is your favorite needle size / material? My favorite needle size is 4mm. 4mm is my favorite needle size. I just love it so much. It's just so perfect. And I have yarns. My yarns in my stash are mainly fingering weight yarns, which means 3.5 to 4mm needles. That's like the perfect range. No, 3mm to 4mm is the perfect range. So 3.3, 3.5, 3.75, 4. That range right there, beautiful. The fabric that comes from knitting with those needles, bro, amazing, beautiful, stunning. Oh, and material, favorite material. My favorite yarn to knit with would be merino wool, because it is a soft wool, softer wool than, a British wool or something. And mohair. Mohair always has to be paired in there because I freaking love mohair. So yeah, merino wool mohair, and then 3 to 4 millimeter needles, that range, my favorite. But if I were to just choose one, because you know, people sometimes just want one, 4 millimeter would be my ultimate fave. What is the most challenging knit you've completed to date? My most challenging knit. I think most of the knits that I've done have been fairly simple because I love the simple classic stockinette projects. Most challenging, I would say 2 of them. But not challenging in a way where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Challenging in a way where when I looked at it, I thought it would be the hardest thing ever. And I had to think a little more than my typical stockinette projects. So the first one would be my, oh my gosh, what is that sweater called? Chunky Dahlia. Whew. My Chunky Dahlia sweater that I did with my sisters. I didn't do it with my sisters. With my sister and Alexandra from Alexandra's Garn. We all did it together when my sisters and I were in Sweden last year. And, well, we started it. And that was a lace project and also a charted project. So it was my first time reading a chart and my first time doing lace. So 2 techniques all at once that I learned, and it was the most enjoyable knit ever. It was so much fun. I felt like a genie, okay? A magician. A warlock, if you may. A witch, okay? Because that was sorcery, being able to knit that. It's so extra, but it was so much fun. I can't wait to knit a lace project again. And it was easy. It was easier than I thought. Alex helped us read the chart, and then once we learned how to read the chart, oh my gosh, it was a wrap from there. It was just easy. And the second sweater is the Cargill sweater, because that's my first actual textured knit. And it's not difficult, but it was a little frustrating, which if I'm getting frustrated, that means I am not understanding, which means it is a little difficult in my book. And also I have to remember, it's a 4-round repeat, so I have to remember to do certain things on certain rounds. It's like, which round am I on now? What do I do now? I don't think of that now that I have gotten a rhythm to what the dip stitch, which is what that stitch is in a pattern, what the dip stitch is. So doing it is super easy now, but when I first did it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'd have to remember all of this. So those 2 I would say would be my most challenging knits. And there is one project that I'm going to... I just realized my camera stopped recording. I don't know what I was saying. I don't know what it stopped on, and I don't feel like looking. Anyway, yeah, I would say those 2 are my most challenging knits to date. And there is one project that I'm going to be working on or starting in, I would say, July, maybe? I'll say July. It is a sweater. I'm not going to say it just yet because there are so many projects that I'm going to be working on and casting on in this month, May, and next month, June, that I don't want to think about another project that I am super, super, super excited about, because then it'll make me frustrated that I have not finished the other projects I'm currently working on to get to that. Oh, hold on. I just knocked over my cone. Yeah, so I will say that it is a very textured, cabled sweater that has many different charts for like 1 round of knitting. And that will definitely be challenging, and I'm excited to do it because I have not seen anyone else in like this knitting circle that I have, or this knitting society that I am a part of. I have not seen anyone that I watch, anyone that I follow, anyone that I keep up with, anyone that I'm friends with knit this. I am so excited to knit this. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's all I have to say. Do you find knitting... Do you find it difficult to knit with long nails? No. Not at all, because I learned how to knit when I had long nails. So now that I have been knitting with long nails for the past year and a half now, like, these are short to me. These are short. And it's very easy. Very, very easy. And I feel like because I learned to knit when I had super long nails, it is very easy to knit with and without nails now. I am getting my nails done probably in the next couple days, tomorrow or the next day. And I'm cutting my nails off. These are my real nails now, but I'm gonna have them cut down because I do not care to have longer nails anymore. Or I feel like I just want to restart with my own natural nails now. Because I still have like an acrylic coating over it, but I want to get rid of acrylic and just do gel, like gel polish and stuff. And then have my natural nails just grow out strong. And then I will see if I want to have long nails once I have my own natural nails and no acrylics, no acrylic coating, nothing. Yeah, that took a turn. That's why I'm able to knit with long nails. No, I don't find it difficult at all. Next question, is YouTube your job? No. Do you and your sisters do friendly competition? No. Mainly because we don't care. We're not competitive people when it comes to each other. Or in general, I feel like I'm not a competitive person because I don't care to beat someone else. I don't care to become top of whatever. Like, I'm gonna go at my own pace and you do your own thing. I guess because of like I feel like it's just in my nature to just be like, I don't care. Like, what am I competing against? Why am I competing? What we do, we knit on different projects as well. I feel like we're at the same level with knitting, and when it comes to learning a new technique or a new technique, we're just like, oh bro, I'm gonna do this, you want to knit this with me? Or, oh, I'm gonna knit this first and see how it is, and then I can help you when you start it. So it's like, it's just friendly, you know, there's no competition. Would you rather knit cables or lace? That's a good question, because I've only knitted lace. I have not knitted cables. And I was just talking about a cable knit sweater that I want to knit. And for the longest, I wanted to knit sweater number 15, but I don't think I feel like reading that pattern right now, because I read through the pattern and I was just like, maybe next time, maybe next year. Not now. No, thank you. It's not a difficult pattern, but the way My Favorite Things Knitwear writes her patterns, it's like you have to really interpret things on your own, and I don't feel like doing that. So, cables or lace? Probably cables, because I like the look of cables more than lace, but also I really enjoyed knitting lace. But I just like the look of cables way more than I do lace. So I'll go with cables. And I feel like I would have a more fun time knitting cables, because knitting lace means knitting holes in your project, and knitting holes makes me nervous. When I was doing the Chunky Dahlia and creating that leaf motif, I was like, am I doing this correctly? Did I mess up here? Oh my gosh. What if I drop a stitch where the hole is supposed to be and I don't know how to pick it up and now it's ruined? So I feel like less anxiety with I feel like I would have less anxiety if I knit with cables rather than lace. What was your major in college, and did you work a career job before knitting / YouTube full time? My major in college at first was physical therapy, because I wanted to be a sports physical therapist for like MBA, but I switched to business finance, business management with a concentration in accounting or something like that. Was it business management or was it just business? And then it was like finance, a concentration in accounting or whatever. That was my major in college. And no, I did not have a career job before doing YouTube full time. Technically, I don't do YouTube full time. I just have the time to do YouTube at a full time rate. Did that make sense? I don't know. But no, I did not work a career job before doing YouTube. Just worked a normal, non-major job. And yeah, I feel like I will put my degree to use soon, potentially. Favorite needles, favorite yarn. Well, I feel like that's a different kind of question. Oops. Since this cone is now so small, it keeps falling over whenever I pull at it. But favorite needles, my Lika needles. It is made of birchwood. Birchwood. And it is the smoothest thing ever. It's so funny because I see some other people who don't find the Lika needles to be smooth. I'm just like, what? I do? Oh my gosh. But yeah, my Lika needles are my favorite. Where are they right now? Oh, they're all the way back there. Sorry. Oh, just dropping everything. Yeah, I was gonna pull it out, but they're all the way in the back, and I don't feel like pulling them out. Oof. But yeah, my Lika needles are my favorite. I'll just put up a picture. I have the blue versions, and they're so pretty. And yeah, those are my favorite. I was gonna say another favorite, but like, it doesn't come close to how I feel about the Lika needles, so I won't say it. Favorite yarn. Brand-wise, I'll answer it brand-wise. Knitting for Olive and Drops. Those are my favorite two commercial brands of yarn. If you could only knit one pattern for the rest of your life, what would it be? The Monday Sweater by Chatty Knit. Listen, if I'm just going to have one sweater or one pattern, it'll be that one. Because I can wear that sweater over and over and over and not get tired of it. Different colors, different yarns, different speckling, different needle sizes. Oh, that thing can turn into many things, okay? I can literally turn it into a slipover if I wanted to. I could make it chunky if I wanted to. I could turn it into a t-shirt if I wanted to. So I can add cables of, it can turn into a different pattern just from that one pattern. So I'd say the Monday Sweater. It's just good base. Next questions. A lot of these are repeated, so there are a lot of questions that I just won't ask. Okay, I think this will be the last question. What are some knitting projects you have planned for the rest of 2023? Okay. Well, there's that one cable project that I have planned for the end of the year. And middle. July is like the middle, right? Yeah. Or after the middle of the year. Well, let's see. Some projects that I will be casting on, like, soon, I will say. After this sweater, which I will be done with today, I will cast on a new test knit that I'll be working on, which is the Marco Polo by Credia Studio. And I have that yarn right there already. That will be on 2.5mm needles, and my battery is about to die, but I'll keep talking. The next project I'll probably cast on after that will be the Poppy Tee. And so the Marco Polo, the Poppy Tee, I will cast on a beanie and maybe some vanilla socks. But That just depends on how I'm feeling because I may not want to have so many projects at once. But if they're small, I won't mind. It won't matter to me. So I think those 4 will be my next projects for the next upcoming months. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for asking me questions. Thanks for hanging with me. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.